Well, today I'm with Roger Smith with Bloodworth Custom Knives,
Right.
and here in Meridian, Idaho. And he had some work done for me, and he told me a story, and I thought it was a story worth sharing. A little back story of how we got connected last fall. My father-in-law Mark and a good friend of mine, Ben Skaggs, we were on an elk hunt last fall, and we harvested 2 spike elk. And I don't like to waste game, and so I had to, what do you do with spike antlers? Gathering dust in the garage. So I thought, if there's somehow I could make a knife out of it. Well, that was way above my pay grade. And made some phone calls. Good friend Ryan White got me in touch with Russ Dodd, who you know, I believe. And
Yeah.
Russ said, Roger Smith is the man to talk to. So got in touch. Here we are. Roger, thanks for doing this for me.
Oh, it was a pleasure. It
And
was a real
tell
pleasure.
me your story of Bloodworth Knives.
It goes back to 1976. I was working in a bank as a marketing director for a bank in Colorado, and got hired by a bank in Alaska. And they moved me up there, and I've always wanted to be in Alaska. I'm a hunter and a fisherman, and all my life, my family, that's what we did. And so when I had a chance to go to Alaska, I packed up and left. And I worked for that bank for about 7, 8 years, and bought a piece of ground up there, sight unseen. So I decided that I was just going to quit the bank. And I went and found that ground, and was out of a little place called Talkeetna, Alaska. So I found it took me a while, but I found the land, and I went back there and built a cabin, which I've never done before. And,
all by yourself?
Well, me and my girlfriend, who was Mila Bloodworth, and later she became my wife. So we got back there. It's remote. The only way you could get in there was with an airplane on floats on a couple little lakes. And so we decided I needed to make a living somehow, getting some money. And so I thought, well, I'm going to make knives. And never did that before. Didn't ever even build a log cabin before, but started that. I started building knives, and read all I could do on it, which was 2 books. I would take, when I get some made, I'd get in my canoe and go down into the little village there, Talkeetna, and I'd sell them, get back on the airplane, and ultimately we ended up turning that into a hunting and fishing lodge. I got a little bit better at building cabins, so I built a bigger one, and we had that lodge for 9 years. And I would make knives in the wintertime and guide and in the summer and fall, and I just kept ended up selling the lodge, and but kept on building knives. And Bloodworth is my ex-wife's maiden name, and I've kept the name ever since. Been now 50 years, and been building knives ever since. Knives are pretty well around anywhere you go, and turned out to be a nice little business.
So here are the knives, and you actually make the sheath as well, right?
I do. I do the entire thing. Yeah.
So here's the elk antler, and he actually even engraved the initials in there as well, which I thought was pretty cool. Definitely a keepsake, a usable keepsake. Go ahead and explain kind of the detail and what you put into those knives.
Well, these knives are made. I made each one of them a little bit different. They all have the elk antler on them, and I put a little brass spacer on that and the butt cap. And the steel is D2 high carbon tool steel, which is really a good high quality steel for a knife. It holds an edge well, and the knives are pretty stout. Should be able to get a lifetime worth of use out of them. And the sheaths are all handmade. They're made to fit that knife. They're all hand sewn. These are made out of 7 and 8 weight cowhide. Last as long as the knife does. And these are, I do all my own heat treating. I grind the blade. The whole entire process is done right here in this little shop.
Yeah, very nice. I love the attention to detail and just the custom. Definitely a memorable keepsake. And so you also do classes. You teach people how to make knives?
Yeah, I started doing classes 10 years ago, and the classes is it's for somebody that really wants to learn how to make more than one knife. I have people that like are retiring and they want to have something to do, and they're handy with their hands, and knife making is a great thing to do that, and so I take them in the class, which is 6 weeks long, 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I only take one student at a time, and we go from the very beginning, from designing a knife all the way through grinding it, heat treating it, building a sheath for it, and they actually build a knife right here in class. And then with their homework, they end up building about 5 or 6 other knives that are following along in that. So by the time they're done with the class, they have knives to continue on with, but they have one completed knife by the end of the 6-week period.
Well, if you have any ideas that you could approach Roger with, maybe you want your own knives made, or maybe you're interested in taking a class, it is Bloodworth Custom Knives. You have a website?
Yes, BloodworthCustomKnives.com.
Yep, and I'll get that information on the screen there. Appreciate it, Roger. Thank you so much. I'm going to cherish these for many years to come. So thank you very much.
It was a real pleasure. They're nice knives.